you say the word polygyny and people cringe.
I can't do it.
They're like, ugh, that's beneath me. Oh my gosh, I would never do that. Oh my gosh, I remember seeing my father and my mother. I would never do that. I saw how my mom cried. I saw how my father was unfair. I saw how my dad, he actually played favorites. It's so many horror stories. You can write a couple of books.
She's deeply traumatized.
But that's not every situation. And a lot of those situations that we do know that is not great, we gotta go back to the way that they were led.
Peace, peace, peace. And assalamu alaikum. It's your girl, the co-wife coach.
Peace, 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 and assalamu alaikum. It's your host, Mecca the co-wife coach, and we are here for another episode of the Poly Talk podcast. I hope everybody's having an amazing day or evening, depending on when and where you're watching. But let's just jump right into this. It's not even a question. It's literally a statement. And I've heard it so many times from so many women, regardless if I work with them or not. And it's literally 5 words. Y'all want to hear it? Here we go. I don't like my co-wife or sister wife, whatever you want to call her. It is a common phrase that is hidden behind so many different things. And we're going to try to tap into that today. This is coming from other women, because I know sometimes men be calling their wives co-wives. No, we're talking about the wives having a dislike for one another, or at least one of them having a dislike for the other. Why is that? Now, even though I said that this is between the wives, brothers, y'all don't leave this conversation because you included in this too, okay?
Talking to you, and I'm talking to you.
And the reason why I say that is because sometimes the dislike for that woman, that other woman, comes from the act or the way that she was presented into your family dynamic. Meaning you led or misled that energy into your space. Is very possible. I'm not saying every situation is like that.
Wait a minute.
But there are a lot, because unfortunately men are entering into like polygyny and poly type lifestyles in a way where they're not really looking at the whole picture. And I'm not talking about just the women themselves, the dynamic of each woman, the emotional stability of each woman, as well as making sure that you are pouring into that woman, especially those pre-existing wives, or that wife or wives that you were married to before bringing in another, that y'all good, y'all cool. Because sometimes men, they bring in other wives while you still got a problem with the one that you was married to for 4, 5, 15, 20, 30 years.
No.
I'm saying. So we have to make sure that we are being very open, especially in this podcast. So this is not just for the women. This is a common phrase that comes from the women, but we have to understand and realize the men have a big part of why that may be so. So how can you actually help in that area? Again, like I said, making sure that you're good, making sure that you're cool within your marriage dynamic, as far as that man and that wife in that marriage, making sure that they cool, or at least working towards betterment. That's just one thing. It's a lot of other things that you can do, but I'm gonna just give you one, at least right here on this podcast. You want to make sure that things are going to go in a direction where growth is promoted. Now, let me talk to my sisters real quick, okay?
Sis! Oh, sis!
Sis, growth is not always easy. So yes, we want to promote growth, but growth is not always easy. Now the brothers can come on over. Growth is not easy. Growth is not easy for both parties. Growth sometimes comes with challenges and hardships and trials. Dislike. Yes, I said dislike because you can love him, but it might be sometimes you don't like him. And you can love her, meaning that husband, but that might be sometimes where she worked your daggone nerves. But that's a part of growth, because even in the dislike of things, why do we ask these questions? Do we ask these questions of why is it that I feel this way? Why is it that she may be feeling this way or reacting this way? Why is he feeling this way and reacting this way? Do we actually do that work? So the ability to be able to work and process in that manner may be very, very helpful. Now, going into another reason as to why that phrase may be shared. So, sis, when you say that phrase, there's a lot of emotions going on because sometimes it may have something to do with the woman, per se, but sometimes it don't. Like, can you ask yourself the questions like, why me saying I don't like her, I don't like my co-wife? Why don't you like her? Did she do something to you outside of marry your husband? I know that part. I know that part. But did she do something to you personally? And in some of those cases, I know some people can say, yes, she did. She brought this, or she did this, and she did that. And, it's drama, or it's unease, or she lying, or she doing this and she doing it. I get that. And if that is the case, brothers, come on over here. When you see a disarray within your family, please be hands-on, meaning be a part of, like, yo, what's going on? Don't like, you want to be a part of the peacemaking, not the disruption, meaning like you turn a blind eye. And I do understand that it may be a little difficult because you don't want to make it seem like you're taking sides, which is the reason why I have co-wives mediation as one of my services. But because a lot of men do actually take advantage of that particular service because they don't want to get caught in the middle. Meaning, if he's saying, oh, she right, and then the other wife like, oh, so you taking her side now, and vice versa. No, it's literally a way that you can go about it, but you need to be more hands-on with bringing the peace and allowing the disruption of family and the destruction of family and the disturbance of family be a part of your foundation. Because if you notice, I said foundation. Can anything grow on a destructive or disturbed type of foundation? If you think of a building, if the foundation is cracked and it's crumbling and it's uneven, you might be able to build a structure on that, but how long is that structure going to last? So if anything, we got to look at it in that aspect. As far as with our family, we're building foundations and legacies and things of that nature, but making sure that it's being built on a sturdy, strong, and solid foundation. Meaning, I'm not going to take you disrespecting my wife, or I'm not going to take you disrespecting my wife. Coming in like that as a husband is very important. It sets the precedence, and it doesn't start when there's a problem. See, that right there within itself is a problem. When you try to address it when it's a problem, no, that's something that is expressed from the jump, from the very beginning. You express and you let them know, like, listen, we're about to be a family, meaning like you're not even in it yet. This is the things that we're going to, work on, but these are the things that I'm not going to tolerate. You put that out there in the beginning. And yeah, they may hear you, but sometimes it may go over their head or through one ear and out the other, which is why you may remind them even after the fact. Like, okay, we a family now. We're making this journey. I just want to remind you, just in case if you didn't get it the first time, that disrespect, if there's an issue or problem and y'all can't handle it yourselves, let me know. If I'm not going to be a part of the solution, meaning I might not be mediating it, I can designate somebody to mediate it in order for us to eliminate it or minimize it at the least. But brothers, you got to be able to put that into place. Without that, what do the women have? They are going off of their own accord. And sometimes that could be okay. And a lot of times it can be very, very not okay. Meaning it can be bad. It can get bad. And we have so many different examples within our communities where you say the word polygyny and people cringe. They're like, ugh, that's beneath me. Oh my gosh, I would never do that. Oh my gosh, I remember seeing my father and my mother. I would never do that. I saw how my mom cried. I saw how my father was unfair. I saw how my dad, he actually played favorites. I saw how this sister did and went through so many different things of being neglected from her husband. It's so many horror stories. You can write a couple of books. You can write a series of books. But that's not every situation. And a lot of those situations that we do know that is not great, we gotta go back to the way that they were led. It goes back to the husband, that man, that leader, that provider, and that maintainer. Because how you start is going to affect how things go and possibly how they finish. So we want to make sure that we're being mindful and being accountable. Let's use that word, accountable. That's right. And I'm not just talking about the men being accountable. Sis, I'm talking to you too. Being accountable for your parts. Listen, I love my co-wives. I know I drive them crazy, but those are my sisters. Those are my sisters. But it didn't start off that way. We had to grow into that, of course. And with growth and with work and with also being able to have a husband to kind of help you go through the ups and the downs of navigating through your sisterhood, or I would say the sisterhood and the structure of the growing of your family. It's very helpful. Those my homies. Shout out to y'all. Y'all know who y'all are. I love you guys. Woo, woo, woo. But sis, going back, making sure that the dislike that you have, what is it really connected to? Is it connected to something that person literally, physically, maybe even emotionally did to you? And even if that is the case, there is room to work towards betterment. You can have a conversation. You can literally say to your husband, hey, listen, about that mediated situation, let's do this, because I don't want to hold on to that energy, because that dislike is an energy and it grows consciously and subconsciously. And it actually has a negative harboring effect on your well-being, because all someone has to do is mention that person's name, or if you see that person, there's something internally that kind of just it turns on, and you're like, oh my gosh, here she goes. That's negative energy that we don't want, need, or should even water. Yes, when you're watering a plant for it to grow, you don't want to water that negative plant, that negative energy, for it to grow into what? A bigger negative energy, something more. But we can do something about basically editing that phrase of I don't like my co-wife. Now, when it comes to other areas of I don't like her because she's married to my husband, I don't know her personally. I never, been around her. I don't even know, her family or anybody that she's around, but I just don't like her because she's married to him. He's my him. That right there is a wall that you build around yourself. And it is an emotional wall that will literally tear you apart, because at this point, you're not allowing yourself to not just be open to polygyny. I'm not even talking about that. But you're putting yourself in a position where you're not allowing yourself to be open to that which the creator has in store for you. Because with change, with growth, there's different lessons and there's different experiences that take you from one phase of your life to another phase of your life. But at this point, you're not allowing yourself to grow. You have four walls around you, and you refuse to even have a window around the fort of those four walls that you build. Because a window means that you might see something and you might be affected in a way where it will kind of merge you over to feeling and seeing differently. I want you to know that that's not the way. Definitely can do better. And it is okay for us to feel how we feel, only for a short period of time. When I say short period of time, I mean you can give yourself a day, 24 to 48 hours. And if you really want to cap it, 3 days max. So that way you can honor that feeling, get to know why you feel that way. Because just like I said earlier on about asking the questions and, why do I feel this way? What is coming about? What does this mean? I want you to write all of those things down so that way you can see what you're feeling. Sometimes we can have all kind of thoughts in our head, and as fast as you may be thinking, you may also lose track of some of those feelings. But no, I want you to take note and write down those feelings. Be aware of what they are, what they look like. Even write down what it feels to be in that position, to be in those feelings, in order for you to be able to recognize it, acknowledge it, do some research as to why you're feeling that way. Again, asking those questions, and then coming up with resolution, so that way growth can show its face and you can grow forward in the best of manners. It's very possible. You have to believe it. You have to do the work. But I don't like my co-wife. That is literally a mask and a phrase that does not allow you to unmask your feelings. We want to unmask the feelings in order for us to be able to see faces of those emotions, to bring clarity, to bring calm, to bring peace, to bring understanding to the things that you really don't understand, but you just feel it. We want to put words and understanding in it so that way we can see the face of what it looks like. Because it may visit us again. And when it does, and if it does, you then will know what it is, what it looks like, how to deal with it. Let's get this good work in, okay? And this also could go, that same exercise that I just mentioned could also be something that the men could do as to their reasons of approach or lack of approach or presence when it comes to leading their families in a way where it is, again, a solid foundation opposed to a cracked, weak foundation. I hope this was beneficial to you all today. I know we got a little serious. It's okay. It's okay. It's good to get serious at times because this is serious work. And we're talking about your well-being and your legacy and your family and your growth and your emotional growing forward. And I want nothing but the best for you, and you too, okay? Listen, we're gonna get ready to wrap up this episode. I really appreciate you all coming out and listening today. Looking forward to sharing for the next episode. But in the meantime, between time, may you all have a beautiful, productive, cleansing, and reflective, good working day, weekend, and week on purpose and with purpose. It's your girl and your host, Mecca the Co-Wife Coach, wrapping up another episode of the Poly Talk podcast. Till next time, y'all take care. Peace. And assalamu alaikum.